Hi, my name is Bill Daus. I am the project manager at the National Science Foundation for FastLane as well as Proposal Submission Modernization, and I am here to talk about the Proposal Submission Modernization Initiative at NSF. And I'm going to go through, give you some background about why we started Proposal Submission Modernization, as well as show you some of the screens that we've developed for the new system, so you get an idea of the new modern system that we're developing. Then I'm also going to show you some of the wireframes of potential screens that we're starting to develop, but we'd like to get more feedback, particularly from this group, on what should be in those screens and what things make sense, and whether or not we should do some of the things. So that's where the survey comes in handy. It's our way to quantify and get structured input from everyone. So I will highlight some of these questions, and I'll be available after the session also if anybody has any questions or ideas. And another note, we do have another forum that we're doing next week. It's an NSF, Electronic Research Administration Forum. That'll be next Wednesday. We have a site on our website where you can go and sign up to do one-on-one usability sessions as well. So please check that out, share it with all of your colleagues, and spread the word. So I'm going to go ahead. So PSM, we sent out a survey last year. We got over 16,000 responses, which is pretty good response rate for our systems at NSF. And this survey gave us some very interesting findings. Some of them we knew that most people who've used FastLane could tell you. It's an older system, so the web pages aren't very intuitive. The layout isn't as easy to use as some of the other modern systems. But one of the other things was that we found a lot of people have administrative burden and makes their lives more difficult. And so one of our missions with this project is to make everyone's lives easier. We don't want to make it a hard or difficult or cryptic labyrinth of processes to get through to apply for an NSF opportunity. So as part of that survey, we also gathered potential solutions from everyone that responded. These solutions all coalesced around 4 really big concepts or ideas. So the first one is data pre-population. So we have a wealth of data at NSF. What you've applied to in the past, what's been awarded, what things have worked. So if someone's submitted a proposal before and they've submitted their different opportunities, they have their CV on there, why not reuse that? Give them the chance to reuse as much as possible so that they're not repeatedly having repetitious uploads of the same thing over and over again for every proposal they do. Another idea is just in time. So this concept, we have a small pilot with budget going on that maybe we don't actually need the budget unless we know that this is something that's being considered for an award. So one of the concepts is a $0 budget where everything initially has $0 as the budget, and then we'll go out and request budgets from those that are feasible and closer to getting an award. Then also just revising the NSF solicitations was another area. The biggest one, though, by far, was expanding our compliance checking. So this is one that we started implementing in FastLane because there was such a high percentage of people who said we needed to do this. So you will see some of the automated compliance checks in FastLane today, and we will continue to increase those. So we really want to minimize the chance of getting returned without review. So our vision in this is to modernize the application, really improve the user experience, take that opportunity we have while we're redoing the 20-year-old system to overcome some of those shortcomings, reduce the administrative burden, is obviously a big thing, increasing efficiencies for you as well as for us internally at NSF, improving the data quality. So this is a big one for us. We want to be able to look at the data and have meaningful outputs and reports from it. And then also supporting data analysis. So there are a lot of technology enabled pieces that we can do these days where we look at proposals, see what science is out there, and then predict what kind of opportunities we should fund in the future and what really impacts the world. So those are all things that we want to do. So to get there, after all of these great surveys, we kicked off an IT project, and that's where I come in. I'm the IT project manager. So we're embracing an agile philosophy. So the main thing, you can see the boxes at the bottom. We identified a lot of pain points, and we do that every month when we review our help desk tickets as well. And then we brought ideas internally into working groups. So we have an internal working group that represents all of the directorates within NSF. So we have people who used to be PIs, some people who are rotating program officers, we have different division directors, so we have the whole range of people, and everyone brings their own perspective on what has worked with their principal investigators, as well as what kind of things might enhance the user experience or the proposal process at NSF, and the merit review process, sorry. So now we're at the yellow box phase. So we've done some of these things, and we want to bring out to you, the external community, what are the things that work, what doesn't work, what can we do better. So we do one-on-one sessions. That's something you can volunteer to do, as well as we come to forums like this. We're going to have the forum next week. And that's why it's really important to do these surveys, because if we can't hear from you what your opinions are, then we don't know them. So please feel free to yell at me as much as you'd like. And then finally, after we tweak our designs, we actually go and develop them. We use a Scrum methodology where we do sprints and we do code, and as problems arise, we go back and we look for more input. So part of that you'll see in some of these survey questions, we're actually asking about specific terms that we've heard don't make sense. So keep that in mind. If you see something that doesn't make sense, please note it, and when you return your survey, let us know so we can find better words and better ways to present this information. So right now I'm going to walk you through our new proposal initiation process. So this is the beginning of a proposal. So you go to the homepage, click Prepare Proposals. Then you'll see you have a new screen to prepare proposals. There's Create New. Go back to working on one that's already in progress, as well as viewing submitted. For right now, we are going to assume we are creating a new proposal. So we'd click that box on the left. And now we come to our new wizard. So previously in Fastlane, this information was buried in the cover sheet, and you would have to go through several different button clicks and screens to get to the simple question of, well, what are you applying for? What funding opportunity are you looking to get awarded from NSF? And that simple question gears a lot of the documents and pieces of information that we need to collect to make that award. So this initial question then will dynamically drive the rest of the user interface based on the opportunity you select. So here you can see the funding opportunity number as well as the title, which can be filtered, searched, it can be sorted, and it only shows ones that are open and available now, so you don't make the mistake of applying to one that was active 2 years ago. So in our example, we'll just select one, and the next screen is where to apply. So again, in the Fastlane cover sheet, you have to know which program you're going to apply for the opportunity. Now we're doing that mapping for you. So only the programs that are available will be shown based on what is available from the previous screen. Hope that makes sense. I probably said it in a roundabout way. But right now in the example, we have the GPG, the overall PAPG. So every single directorate with every single program is available here, minus a few. And you can pick and prioritize and save those, and it'll go over to that right column, and you can rank them up and down of where you'd like that to go. The alternative, though, in the more common case, is you select something like our Tektronix example here, and there's only one directorate, division, and program that can even accept that proposal. So in here, you'll see that the screen is already pre-populated with that for you, and you don't make the mistake of going to, say, a biology directorate program under organizational. So it's trying to make it simpler and very straightforward, so all you have to do is click Next. And again, then we come to the proposal types. And this, too, is dynamically driven by the funding opportunity you select. So if an opportunity only allows research proposals, then that'll be the only selection on the screen. Here we have all 13 listed out just to show as an example. But I wanted to show you how this can be done. And then same with submission type. So certain opportunities only allow full proposals, others letters of intent. But all this is dynamically driven based on the previous questions. And then finally, we come to the collaborative status as well as the title. This is the last piece of information we need then to gear a completely dynamic experience on the next screen. So if you select that it's a collaborative proposal, whether you're the lead or non-lead, then we enable features to link this proposal to other proposals, which is something that people do in Fastlane today by sharing pins. Now we have an invitation system that will invite people to link them. And you can put in the title You can put in a temporary title if you need to. But then by clicking Create, now we have a new Forms interface. So if any of you are familiar with Fastlane, Fastlane always has every option on the screen at all times. This new interface only has the required documents that you need for that opportunity. So here you will know if I have a data management plan that's required by this opportunity, there will be data management under the required section of these. It also has an easy way to show the compliance of anything you've uploaded, whether or not you've started it or the last time it was updated. So we hope that this method of showing only the required sections just allows people to understand what the requirements are of them when they're submitting something to NSF. And you can see we've tried to outline on the left, we have our actions, the collaborative piece, managing personnel, which I'll get to. That's going to be the next piece we go through. And then the status, again, on the right. So I'll take a minute. Does anyone have any questions? Yes, could you please step up to the mic?
So in that section of documents, being dynamic based on what you choose to do.
Yes.
Will that also change? So for example, if you add funds for a postdoc in the budget, will then drive the requirement to
Exactly. Yes. So that is the question. Make sure everyone heard it was. So if you put in a postdoc on the budget, then yes, then you'll now be required to have a postdoc mentoring plan listed under the documents. So we have that logic in there for other pieces. Another budget example, if you select one of the small business opportunities on the budget, there is a field for small business fees. That is then enabled if you've selected a small business opportunity, whereas it's disabled for all other opportunities. So we're really trying to make it as straightforward as possible. Does anyone have any other questions before we jump into the personnel section? Okay, so this is the one. I hope everybody has their surveys ready. So everything you've seen with the wizard, that's all stuff that we've vetted, we've developed. Hopefully we'll put it out there. One thing on the timeline with everything you see here, NSF is undergoing a move. We're moving from Arlington to Alexandria, so we're moving our headquarters. So we are not actually releasing the software to the public till after we move. So you'll probably see it around October of 2017. So there's lots of time to provide input if you have any. So now I'll walk you through the personnel section. So put yourself in the mindset of you've started this proposal and you're at the screen, you've selected the opportunity, you now want to invite somebody or add somebody to your proposal. So in my example, I'm the principal investigator. I'm clicking on that button of Manage Personnel. And now I have a new screen. And so this is something that is not in Fastlane today, but it's a Manage Personnel section. So this section will list out all of the senior personnel, PIs, co-PIs, the non-co-PI senior personnel, as well as any assistants. Today in Fastlane, they're called other authorized users. So this will have everybody who's associated with the proposal, and you can use this screen to grant them access. So a more finer-grained access control of who can view your proposal or potentially upload documents. I'll get to that in a second. But the first question on your survey, so everybody has their surveys here, is about other authorized user. So OAU is something that's in Fastlane. It's a person that can help a PI prepare a proposal. So right now, you can send somebody a pin and invite them to work on this proposal. So we've gotten a lot of constructive feedback that OAU is a very confusing term. People don't really understand what it is, why it's there. So we've thought of other ideas like calling an assistant or proposal assistant, support staff. So that's the first question we want to know in the survey. So if you can either check a box if you like those, or write in what you at your institution call these people who help you prepare proposals. If you could put that in there, that would help us a lot. So that's our warm-up question. That's an easy one. So I'm going to go through an example where I'm going to add a senior personnel. So I'm Jane, I'm the PI. I want to add Samantha to my proposal. So now I go and I clicked on the Add Senior Personnel button here. And now I can do similar to in Fastlane where I can search by NSF ID or by email. And in our example, I'm going to add Samantha here. And I validate that's the right information, right organization. And I will add her to the proposal. Fairly straightforward. So one thing that NSF is considering, and this is what we'd really like to get your input on, is question number 2. So you see we have Samantha invited here to our proposal. We can change her role on there, or we can remove her from the proposal. But what we'd like to know is NSF may require that all senior personnel, so PIs, co-PIs, and non-co-PIs, senior personnel, all register with NSF and acknowledge that they accept the invitation to be part of this proposal. So the thing you can imagine, which we'll go through screens, is I added Samantha, and then it sends her an email saying, would you like to participate or be a part of this proposal? And then she now has to accept that invitation and associate herself with the proposal, or else she will not be included as a senior personnel for this proposal. So that's something that we acknowledge that may incur more administrative burden. So please fill out number 2 and let me know what you think about that. Feel free to write in the margins or anything else too if you have some strong opinions on that. So some examples of that after I've added Samantha are an email, as I said. So she can sign in and it'll say, Jane Smith has invited you. Please take action and sign in to acknowledge that you will accept being on this proposal. Or the alternative, please remove me from this proposal. I have no idea who Jane Smith is and I should not be on her proposal. She's trying to add me. And this does happen. This is why NSF is considering doing this. In the past, we have had other senior personnel who are added and have no idea that they've been added onto a personnel. They're on a budget. They have money funded for them. And they have no idea that they're supposed to be participating on this project that's been awarded. So that is something, and that's the problem that we're trying to address here. So an email is one idea. The other would be an alert within the system. So the next time that Samantha logs in, it shows an alert saying, you've been added to this proposal. Please view the proposal or decline the invitation. So that's question 3 on the survey. Are either of these helpful for non-senior personnel or also for the OAU role, for the assistants? Would an email be a good notification, something within the system, or are neither helpful, this is a terrible idea, and check the 3rd box. Or if there's something else, a better way to do it, please let us know. We are open to lots of ideas. Oops, sorry. Into the budget and budget justification. So this is another area that we're looking at improving right now over what's done in Fastlane. So I'm going to walk through 3 different concepts we have for the budget and how we could potentially prepare one in the new system versus what's done in Fastlane today. So right now you'll see on our screen, budget and budget justification are now separated out into 2 separate sections. So if we went into the budget section, what you can see is a form. So a very traditional interface, all the different items listed out here, and the totals being updated, it's automatically saving. We've tried to streamline the person months a little bit there. This screenshot does not capture all the lines of the budget, so you'd have to scroll down. But that's also why we'd be able to expand all and collapse all on this screen as well. So then what you saw was year 1. So then we've had the ability to add years or delete them. So you can also copy over a year. So if you want to copy year 1 into year 2, you can do that. So then we have our new budget. We've added years. You can see on the right now, it's automatically summing up all the total funds requested. You could delete years. If you have multiple years, say you want to look at year 1 and year 5, you could hide the other years and hide those columns even though they're not being removed. And then you can also expand down to more detail and go into each of the different pieces. So you can see in the equipment, you could add multiple line items for that. So an alternative concept is the wizard idea. So taken from TurboTax and IRS forms, having an option to be walked through line by line. So you can imagine if you're a new researcher, you may not know what the difference between a consultant service or a subaward or a subcontract is. So this idea is to guide you through that process step by step. So at any point, though, this is what the beginning of a wizard might look like. At any point, you could switch back to the form. So if you need help on a section, you could hop into the wizard. And you can see we have a lot more text out here, some notes. We can have links out to the policy sections that apply. But you can always switch back to the form view. And a lot of inline help. So you can see with this example here, We have a lot of little question marks, a lot of hover over help that will say exactly what that line is for. And we have visual indicators on the top to show where you are in the process of creating your budget. This is just another idea. So then the last one is a template. So we've gotten a lot of feedback that people create their budgets in Excel or another system. It'd be great if they could just upload that, and then we would parse through that information and populate our budget thing, as opposed to having to go through line by line in Fastlane. So we do have a question. This is another scale 1 to 5. It's question 7. So you see we have the multi-year budget table, the step-by-step wizard, and a structured template or upload. If you could just rate those from not helpful to very helpful, let us know what is best. That'd be excellent. So let me get caught up. All right, so after completing a budget justification is required. So our staff has to make sure that every budget line item is justified. So right now in Fastlane, you upload one document, which is very easy to do. However, it's very hard for us to go through and map that to the budget line items. So a concept that has come up is one that where we break out in the interface now boxes. So anywhere that there has been budget entered, now you'll be required to either copy and paste or type in your justification for that section. So it's really meant to be a reminder that you are required to justify every item in your budget as part of your submission to NSF. So we do have a big question about this, because we understand that people do like creating their one document. So we want to know how much additional burden would a method like this create. So that's question 8 on the survey, ranking it from 1 to 4 of no additional burden to a lot, or you don't know, you're kind of neutral on it, doesn't matter. Please fill that out in question 8.